Yeah, good evening, everyone. Let us start the session. This is Harsha again. Welcome all for session 12. Today we will look at one of the complex type, that is arrays. Okay. So in Java, arrays are implemented as objects. Okay. So with that, let us start and see what we have for today's session. Today we will see what are arrays. We are continuing with yesterday's topic itself. So we will see what are arrays. We will see single dimensional arrays and then multi-dimensional arrays, specifically two-dimensional arrays. Okay. In our last class, we saw what are type conversions, what is meant by typecasting, what is Java's automatic conversion, what are compatible types and incompatible types, widening and shortening conversion. Okay. And then we saw automatic type promotions, rules for automatic type promotions, and then we saw some examples, right? How we, what are the things that happen when Java tries to automatically promote a particular variable of from one type to another type, right? So let's start with arrays. So as we already know, like arrays are just a name given to a block of memory locations. Okay. So what is it? It's just a name given to multiple elements. Okay, a group of elements you can store in and within a group of elements of same type. Okay, so you can so it's a single variable. Okay, it's a single variable that is used to store group of elements. It's a single variable used to store group of elements of same type. This is very important. Okay, same type is very important. So we cannot store integer, float, double, everything in one particular array. Okay, we have to when you specify the data type of an array, okay, it can only store the data type specified for that particular array. Okay, the data type, whichever the data type you can mention. Okay, it can be a complex data type or user defined data type, primitive data type. Okay, we will see all those things. Okay, so any type of array can be created. Okay, and values, as we have mentioned, we can store multiple elements, right? We can store multiple elements. So each value, elements means some value you will store. Maybe it may be an object or it may be a primitive value. Okay, each value is called an element of array. Element of an array. Okay, and each element is associated with one particular index. Okay, that is this index has to be an integer. You cannot specify a float. Okay, float or what other data types. Okay, it must be, and the index must be an integer. Okay, whole number. So it is an integer value and it always starts with 0. Okay, for example, if you have 10 elements or if you have stored 10 values in an array, okay, so 10 integer values 0 through 9. Okay, if you have stored 0 through 9 in an array, okay, so the 0th element will be, or this value 0 will be stored in 0th index. Okay, 9th element will be stored in 9th index. Or if you want to store 1 to 10, assume that this is the first element and this is the last element. Okay, the index of first element will always be 0 and the index of last element will always be 9, because it starts with 0. Index always starts with 0. You must always remember that. Can you all hear me? Am I audible? Okay, yeah. So index or in this index always starts with 0. Okay, that is very, very important. And how can we access an element, or why do we use index? It is used to access array elements, individual array elements. Okay, it can have dimension, one dimension, as I mentioned, single dimensional or multi-dimensional. Okay, so the number of square brackets, opening and closing, this, assume that this is one square, what do you say? So this open and close square bracket defines your dimension. Okay, this is one dimension. So if you have two open and close square brackets, it is two-dimensional array. Okay, similarly, three-dimensional array. Okay, all these things. Okay, so let us start with our single-dimensional arrays and understand how we can access individual elements, how we can use to declare, how we can assign memory to it, all those things. Okay, so here is the syntax for declaring a single dimensional array. Okay, so here is the data type, as we specify for primitive data types, right, or primitive variables. Okay, as we specify for primitive data variables, we have to specify the data type for your arrays also. Okay, this is the variable name. Or array name. Okay, this is the data type that we specify. Okay, so this is the data type which actually what type of values or elements you can store. What type of elements you can store in an array. Okay, since we are using only one open and close square brackets, this is a single dimensional array. Okay, single dimensional array. Single dimensional array. Okay, so for example, int I. Okay, this is I is an array now, which can store elements of type or values of type int. Okay, so this is just a declaration of your array name. Okay, so now just by declaring, you will not have any memory allocated to it, because we have to specify how many bytes of memory we need. That we can achieve by using what is called as new operator. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, so we have seen how, sorry. Okay, we have seen how we can declare a variable, array variable. Okay, so now we'll see how to kind of like assign a value to or memory to a variable array. Okay, so data type. So we have seen that data type declares the base data type of elements. That is the type of elements you can store in an array. Okay, the syntax, this particular syntax, it only creates a variable. Okay, it only creates a variable. As I mentioned, it only creates a variable. So no memories are allocated for that at that particular time. Okay, so where in our previous syntax, what we did int I. Okay, so it just says that I is a variable of array type. Array type. So when I say array type, you can store multiple values in it. What type of value you can store? That is specified by your data type. Okay, so this is just a value which is just pointing to a null. Okay, null is nothing but nothing. It means nothing. It is not pointing to anything. Okay, so how you can assign a memory or allocate memory to that particular variable of array type, we will use what is called as a new operator. Okay, this we will see what it actually does when we discuss about classes. Okay, what it does is, on a high level, what it does is it allocates memory from your physical memory, from on your physical memory, that is our RAM. Okay, it allocates memory and then returns the address of that particular memory, block of memory. It is block of memory. Okay, not just a memory, it is a block of memory. We will see why it is called as block of memory. Okay, so it allocates block of memory and then returns the address of that particular memory. Okay, so how do you allocate that one? Using new. You just specify new. This is a operator, okay, which allocates memory. It allocates memory and returns the address of the memory, which can be stored in your variable. This variable, whatever the variable identifier that you specified, right? You can store it in that. Okay, but you cannot access the actual address of a memory in Java. So that is not at all valid in Java. Okay, so then you specify the data type and then the size. It has to be always integer. Okay, this is the size. That means you are telling how many elements you want. How many elements you want to store in this particular variable of array type. Okay, that is what you specify in your size. Okay, let us see an example. Okay, so I want to store 10 elements in I. Okay, what I will do, first I will declare it. Okay, int I, and then I is equal to new int of 10. Yeah, Abhi, there's a question. So in arrays, every identifier should be like this. Every identifier. Yeah, you have to start with the moment you say int I and square bracket. Okay, square bracket. This is your square brackets. Okay, open and close square brackets. So there is another syntax. You can. So let me. Yeah, hold on for a second, David. Yeah, you can ask your question, David. I have unmuted you, so you can ask that question. You want to ask your question? Okay, so there are two ways in which you can declare an array. Okay, one is like this, int I. Okay, that is one way, or you can say like this. Okay, you can put the square bracket immediately after the data type that is specified, and then you can specify the identifier. Okay, or you can specify the data type variable and then you can put the square brackets. Okay, both are valid. Okay, both are valid, but preferably this is the one which we should use. Okay, preferably, because the moment you see that this is the square brackets, right, it implies that we are dealing with the arrays. Okay, so what you can do is sorry. So what you can do here is you can also do like this. I think that was the question for which you asked, right, Abid? So okay, sorry. So what is happening is, so here you have the data type first, right? Sorry, just bear with me. Okay, all these things are a bit new to me. Okay, so what you can do is here you can say data type, and then you can mention square bracket, and then you can specify I. Okay, that is also valid, and this is the preferable preferred. This is preferred. Okay, just because the moment you see the data type and then square brackets, right, it says that we are dealing with arrays. Okay, so that is I think that is the question which Mohammed wanted to ask. Okay, yeah, let's move on to the next topics. Okay, yeah, so here you can either do this way. Okay, so we have identifier. Okay, say for example I have int I is equal I square bracket. Okay, and then I want to allocate at this point in time it is just pointing to nothing. Okay, it is null. Okay, so now I want to allocate memory. Memory is not allocated yet, so I will use the new operator. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so what I will do is and then I will allocate. At this point we don't have memory allocated, so now what I will do, I will use new operator. Okay, so I is equal to new of int 10. I want to store 10 elements. Okay, remember, so what it does is it allocates. So each int occupies how many bytes? Each int occupies how many bytes? Each int occupies how many bytes? 4 bytes, right? 4 bytes, right? So how many memories are allocated when I say 10? 40 bytes. Okay, so how many values we can store? We can store 10 elements or 10 values. Okay, so let us see how those things are specified here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, say for example 5, 2, 1, 10, 20, 5, 25, 60, 75, 80, 100. Okay, forget about this one. So 10 elements we can store. This is a array named as I. Okay, so 10 elements we can store in this array. So how many bytes? 4 byte, 40th byte. One important thing to remember about your arrays is memories are allocated what is called as contiguously. Okay, memories are allocated contiguously is nothing but in one block. So it is not like five elements are stored in one address. Say for example 100 address is 100 and another 5 are stored in 200. It is not like that. Okay, they are stored contiguously. Okay, that means in one block. Okay, that is how it is designed. One block, it will be one block is taken, block of memory, and then required number of bytes is allocated. Based on the required number of bytes, it allocates a set of number of bytes in one block. It's in contiguous. It means it's continuously. Okay, this is this is 4 bytes, this is 8, this will be 40th. Okay, like that. Okay, so that you can access these elements easily. Okay, so in this, so we have, let us write here, let me write here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Okay, so let me write 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll come to you, Abid. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? Yeah, Abid is asking you a question. Each and every element of the array should be within the range of specified data type or what? So whatever the data type that we specify here, right? Whatever the data type that we specify here, or while declaring, okay, we specify data type. Data type, right? This is the data type, or this is the data type which baseline or it is also called as base data type. Okay, it's called base data type. This is the one which baselines or which tells what kind of data you can store in a particular array. Okay, particular array identified by our identifier. Okay, so if you specify I is equal to new int of 10, you can store only integer values. Okay, you can store only integer values. You cannot store any other values. Okay, for example, if I want to store the 10.0.1001, okay, let us see if we try to do what happens. Okay, in such scenarios, you cannot store. Okay, you can only store a particular type that you specified while declaring your variable. Okay, so this is how you allocate memory to a particular array identified by your identifier. Okay, you have to specify the new operator which allocates memory from your physical memory. Okay, and then you specify the size. The size specifies how many bytes that needs to be allocated for this particular identifier. How many bytes to be allocated? Okay. Anyone has any questions? Yeah, Pawan. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, you can ask your question, Pawan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, taking the type promotion in consideration. Okay, what if I give it as byte of I? Okay, as the array. Okay, and what if I start inputting the values of let us say integer range? Okay, will that be allowed? Because I mean, there's something called type promotion happening in Java, right?
Correct, correct. So can you just repeat your question? I did not get your question fully.
No, actually what I'm telling is, see, instead of int, okay, I say the array I is a byte data type. Okay.
What do you say? This is, you want this as a byte?
Yeah, right. The byte of I.
Okay.
Okay. And what if I gave the value above the range of byte?
Yeah, that above the range of value. That's what you told. Yesterday we took one example, right? We saw like 4,000. Okay?
Yeah, right.
And then and then we typecasted it to byte.
Yeah, right.
And we got 64.
Yeah, right.
Right? The same thing applies here also. The same thing applies here also.
No, no. My question is, it's like yesterday we were talking of type promotion, right? Let us say if I have byte short,
yes.
It will be promoted directly, right? In case we have the situation. So
Correct.
in this
Correct.
case, will it be promoted to int or not?
Yeah, the promotion, whenever, yesterday I told you, right? Whenever you think of promotion, right? So what should be the primary thing that needs to be considered?
Equation, right?
Yeah, expressions. Okay.
Okay.
So only when you have expressions, that is when your promotion happens. Otherwise, promotion will not happen.
Okay. Okay.
Right? That is the
Yeah.
very the basic thing which we discussed. The moment I said promotion, I told it is associated with expressions, not just values. Okay. So only when we have expressions, the promotion happens. Within promotion, to promotion to happen, you should use the values within in an expression. Okay. An expression. So that is also possible. Whatever the question that you are asking, right? That is also possible. Say for example, you have an array, right? You say I want I of say 10, I of 9. Let us say I want to assign a value to this particular location. Okay, is equal to I of 1 plus I of 2.
Okay.
Is it not possible?
Yeah.
It is possible, right? Yeah. Yeah. In such cases, it happens. Okay. In such cases, it happens. Automatically, it happens. Whatever the topics that we discussed, right? Those things are cumulative. Okay. Whatever the topics we discussed, they are cumulative. Wherever the situation arises, corresponding things takes place. Okay. Hope you got your answer.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Pawan. Thanks. Yeah, Abid is asking, give me a second, he is asking one more question. Okay, specified data type. So each and every element of the array should be within the range of specified data type or what? Yes, exactly. So when I specify integer, right? When I specify integer, yeah, the value should be, this is the, as I told, this is the base type that we specify, right? This is the type of the element, or it specifies the type of the element you can store in this particular array. Okay. So what Abid is asking, so I have declared this as an int. Okay. So what it says, this int says I can store only int values. I can store only int values. Okay. So int has a range, right? Int has a range. Some range. So let us assume it is some 6 million or something. Okay. So we have each and every element should abide by that rule. Within that range, you have to assign. Otherwise, like we saw here, this got converted to 64, right? Similar to that one, it happens. It is always interesting to know that, experiment with all these values. What is the maximum value? Okay. So find out what is the maximum value that you can store in an array or for an int variable. These are also similar to like your int variables only, individual int variables. Okay. These are also individual int variables only. You can consider, say for example, I have int x is equal to some value, 10 value. Okay. So this is one, here you can store only one value, right? This is similar to this one only. See, the only difference is here you use one variable name for storing one value, but here you use one variable name for storing n number of elements. Okay. And this is individual elements are identified by what are known as index. Okay, indices. Okay, and we saw that indices starts with 0, and this is the 10th element, and the index for this 10th element is 9 because we started with 0. Okay, why these indexes are there? Because we have only one name. We should have a way to access each and every individual elements, right? So we should come up with a way to, artist. Let me finish Abid's answer. He has one more question. Okay, let me finish first what I was telling, and then I'll take up this question, and then I'll come to you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we need this index because we are using only one name and n elements. Okay, one name and n elements. So to access individual elements, we need a way to access, right? So we use indexes. Okay, so we will see what are those indexes. Okay, that is related to your size. Size specifies how many number of elements you can store. Data type specifies what type of element you can store. This is the type of individual elements that you can store in a particular array. Individual elements. Okay, and data type of individual elements that you can store it in an array. Okay, next question is from Abid. Okay, so he has asked so many questions. So what I am asking is, sorry, I'm not copy pasting the questions because I have pen in my hand. Okay, so give me a second. What I am asking is like, can we store any element value outside of the range of particular data type? Yeah, that is what I'm telling Abid. So that is what I was explaining. Okay, so okay, let me clear everything. So you have, okay, individual elements. Okay, so this is, assume that I have declared int I is equal to some 10 elements. Okay, this is the first element, 0th index. Okay, say for example this is 1. Okay, what you are asking is, I don't know whether you are asking the same question. So the value of this particular, the value that you have stored in index 0 of this array, right? Can it or does it abide by the rules of integers range? That is what I understood from your question. Please correct me if I am wrong. Okay, so that is what I understood from whatever you typed. Okay, let me copy paste it so that everyone knows. Okay, and it is interesting to see that you people are so attentive and asking the right questions. Okay, that is good. I mean, I always yeah, I got your point, Avit. Yeah, I did not see your range. Yeah, correct. Whatever you are telling is correct, but the range applies only to one particular element. Okay, here we are talking about only one element. The range applies to one element. It is not for the whole array. So we are not talking about the whole array. Okay, so we will come to I will clarify that one when we move further. Okay, so let us move to next slide. Okay, let us move to next slide. So then maybe it will be very clear. So Ari has one question. Okay, before that, let me take up Atif's question. Yeah, Atif, I unmuted you. Please ask your question. Yeah, you have any questions to ask, Atif? Okay, let me go to Hari. So what Hari is asking is, if we declare the data type like int at the time of declaration, what will happen if we give float value at the time of giving values to an array? So you mean to say when allocating memory, right? When allocating memory. So yeah, that is also a good question. So let us see. That is one question. So one more question. Okay, I copy pasted it. So what Hari is asking is, say I declare, okay, I declare int I is equal to, so okay, int I, okay, but what I will do, I'll do like this. Is it valid? So that is what is his question. So we will see when we are trying to do practicals, right? That time we will see what exactly happens, whether this particular syntax is valid or not. So the syntax which we saw was, whatever the type that you declare, it should be the same type. We will see what happens if we try to declare different type here. Okay, obviously it should result in a compile time error. Okay, obviously it should result in compile time error. Okay, so complete declaration. So what we did earlier, first we declared and then allocated memory using new operator. Can we do it in a single statement, because we are using one statement 1 and statement 2, right? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, we can do that. What you will do, int I is equal to new of int 10. This is possible. Okay, so preferably I'm writing like this only, so it should be like this. Int I. Okay, as soon as you declare the type, mention your square brackets. Okay, whether it is single or double dimension, because the moment you see these two things, right, your mind will think, okay, this is we are dealing with the arrays, and it's whether it's a single dimensional array or a multi-dimensional array. Okay, so this is how we can declare in a single statement. Okay, in a single statement. Size, type of the element we can store. Yeah, Teja is asking one more question, so I'll come to you, Teja. Okay, I'll come to you, Teja. Okay, so how do we assign? So we have declared an integer, right? I mean an array of 10 elements. So the array, I mean, like block of memory is allocated. So what do we do with that block of memory? So we have to assign some values, right? So this is the syntax for assigning a value to an element. Let us consider the same example. Okay, int I is equal to 10 elements are there. Okay, how many elements I can store? 10 elements. Okay, so index starts with, always index starts with 0. So we have 10 elements, so we can store up to 9. So index is, first element index is 0, last element index is 9. Okay, hope I am audible to everyone. Okay, yeah, I'll come to you, Teja. I'll come to you. So for example, so identifier is I. Okay, nothing is there now. So I have not allocated anything, or I have not assigned any value to any of these 10 memory locations. Okay, I of, okay, I of one of the index. You can specify one of the index. Say for example 4. I want to store some 100. Okay, now what happens? Okay, let me erase everything and then come back. Okay, now I have this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, index is, I'm specifying index at the top. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because the index always starts with 0. You have to remember. Okay, this is very important. Okay, and then you have named it as I. Okay, so here we are trying to assign a value, right? So what I will do, say I want to assign 4th element. I of 3 is equal to 100. Okay, once this statement is executed, you will see 100 assigned here. Okay, so I want to assign some value 9 to some 0. Okay, this is how I assign. So if I want to assign values, individual values from 0 to 9, what I can do? I 0 is equal to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 already I have assigned, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that is how I can individually assign values to each element. Okay, each memory location or each element. These are each elements, right? Each element. Okay, so how do you access? We are talking only about one-dimensional arrays. Okay, why one-dimensional array? We have only one square bracket, open and close for square brackets. Okay, this is how memory is allocated. This one will be, or say for example, this is 40th byte, because 4 into 10 bytes. Okay, so from here, say it is 40 means how many? 34 to 40. Okay, that is how the these things are allocated. Yeah, I'll come to you, Teja. Okay, so thanks that you reminded that. Okay, so now I want to access. So now I have assigned the value, the individual elements. Okay, and accessing a value. Now accessing a value. Okay, so what did we do for assigning a value? We just saw the index. You specify the index. Okay, is equal to some value. Okay, so for accessing, we just have to say index. That's it. For example, if I have I of 9 is 0. So if I want to access in system.out.println, I can say value of last value plus I of 9. That's it. Okay. This is how we either access and assign it to some variable of same type, or the other things yesterday whatever we discussed, those rules apply. Okay, so let me go to Teja's question. Okay, what Teja is asking is, can we declare array like this? This is the question he's asking. Can we declare array like that? Okay, so, and one more question is Abid. This is Abid's question. Okay, so let me take up okay, Hari Krishna also has a question. Okay, yeah, we will see all those things, Hari. Okay, whatever the questions you are asking, right, we will see in practicals. Okay, so so what Teja is asking is, okay, let me erase all these things. You know, whatever we did, we created or declared and created a variable, and then we are trying to assign individual values, right? There is also something called as array initialization. Okay, there is also something called as array initialization. How you do that? You specify the data. Okay, the identifier is equal to, you have to specify your square brackets. Okay, and then open a flower bracket. Okay, and then you specify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then finish it. Okay, note that we have not specified anywhere. This is called array initialization. Okay, while declaring itself, you are initializing the array. Note that we have not specified the size of the array anywhere. Okay, this is important. We have not specified the size of the array anywhere. Okay, so what will be the size of the array? This specifies the number of elements that you specify within your flower brackets, right? That specifies the number of elements that needs to be stored in this particular array. Okay, that is what is the question of Teja. So what he was asking, sorry, what he was asking, He was asking, can we do array initialization? Oh, my handwriting is becoming pathetic day by day. Okay, so can we do array initialization when declaring? That is what is his question. Okay, so let me do one thing. I should have left one blank page. How we can do it? As I showed, we can assign, say for example, int I, specify, and then just after equals, whatever the values that you want to specify, you can specify here 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is 0th element, this is first, this is second. 0, 1, and second. These are the indexes or indices. Okay, so the size is implicitly specified with the number of elements that is specified within your square brackets or flower brackets. Okay, you have to end with the semicolon here. Okay, this is for your one-dimensional array. The multi-dimensional array also you can do it, but we will see how to do that. Okay, so if you want to access, this is what is called as accessing array value. Okay, let us move to next thing. So I'm going bit slow because I want everyone to understand. Some of you may understand quickly because you will have computer science or you might have done some programming before. But there are students who are not from computer science background. I want them also to understand each and everything. Okay, that's why I'm going a bit slow, but we'll pick it up as the time goes. So we'll pick it up because once we are strong with basics, we can go a bit faster at later time. Okay. So whatever I explained, it is here. Okay, I have specified int n is equal to 10. My array, this one refers to this 10. Okay, so Abid had a question. I thought I answered Tejas' question. So can we store as much elements as we can? And is there any limit for storing elements in an array? Yeah, you find out and let me know, Abid. Okay. So what Abid is asking is, so while initializing, right, we don't specify any size. Okay, while initializing the array, okay, while initializing the array, can we store? Is there any limit? Just think, and you can just by thinking you can tell the answer. Okay, is there any limit to storing these values? Is there any limit to storing these values? Okay, you can find out and tell me a bit in next class. Okay, in next class you can find out and tell me, is there any limit to the values that we can specify? Okay, and Pawan is asking, I guess it should be 36, not 34. What is the 36 and 34, Pawan? What is the 36 and 34? You can speak.
No, actually, when we were discussing about the bytes, I mean, you said the 48 byte is gonna be 9, I guess. So taking int occupies 4 bytes, it's gonna be 30.
Got it.
That's it.
Okay. That is just I was just telling. So it is just a rough calculation. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So just a rough calculation.
Yeah.
So one more question is Hari Krishna is asking, can we declare a of 9 is equal to 10.00 if we declare data type as integer? Okay. What Hari is asking is, yeah, I like all of you being interactive. Okay. If you ask more and more questions, I also have to think to answer, and you also are active in the class. Okay. So let us try to ask more and more questions. Okay. I enjoy actually. So I encourage all of you to ask more and more questions. Okay. let us make these sessions more interactive. Okay, what Hari is asking is, I declare int I, okay, and then I will allocate values, okay, and then while allocating value I of 9, can I assign? This is a double. This is not float. This is a double, because if you don't specify f here, it will be considered as double. Default float value in Java is double. Okay, that is considered as a double. Okay, let us see what happens. Okay, I think someone else asked the same question, and at that time I answered that question also. Okay, because you specify, right? You specify the data type while declaring. You specify the data type. Okay, I is equal to new. This cannot be any other data type. Okay, by syntax, this has to be this only. Okay, otherwise if you specify something else here, this will be a compile time error. Also, when you assign a value, right, when you assign values like this, whatever we discussed in our previous classes, right, the same thing happens. Okay, let us see what happens. Okay, let us see what happens. So whether it gets promoted or it gets truncated, or whether widening happens, widening conversion happens, or the shortening conversion happens, all those things. All those things, whatever we discussed before, right? All those things we can apply in these situations, whatever the situations that you see here. Okay, and Ron is asking a question. Is there a value in I of 8? Will it overwrite? There is a value. Good question, Ron. Good question. So what Ron is asking is, assume that, okay, let me clear this thing. So what is Ron asking is, so assume that here, okay, let us consider that as I, because I can't write my array, the whole thing, okay. I of 5, because, is it 5 or 4? 0, yeah, I of 4, okay. I of 4 is 89. I already have I of 4 is equal to 89, okay. So can I already have a value 89, right? Can I assign another value to I of 4? Okay. So it is like asking this question. I have a int of int x is equal to 10. Can I do x is equal to 11? So can you answer, Ram? You want me to unmute you? Yeah, I have unmuted you, Ram.
Hello, Vikram. Yeah, I think it will overwrite with the new value.
Yes. Yeah, it overwrites with the new value. So I told you, right? Each element we can consider it as an array. I mean, not exactly. Each element you can consider it as either a primitive data type or your complex data type. We'll see how complex data types behave when you declare an array of complex data type. Okay. So we are considering a primitive data type here, right? So each element will be like our individual array, like this. Okay, individual, not exactly array, individual variable, like this. Okay, individual variable. Okay, each element is like individual variable. So how do we identify those individual elements as variables? With this. Okay, we specify the identifier and then specify the index. So this will be like you declare. It is like similar to like you declare a variable of I of 4, but this is not allowed. It is similar to like this one only. Whatever you declare x, right? So whatever the rules applies to these basic primitive variables, right? The same rules applies here also. Okay, whatever the rules apply to this primitive variable, the same rules applies to individual elements of an array. Okay, whatever the rules we have discussed so far for primitive data types, all those things applies to the individual elements. So, for example, Pawan asked promotion. Yeah, that is also applicable. Okay, so let us move to next topic.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah. So these are different ways we can access it. I've just printed out. Okay, and then accessing. So we can access individual elements like this. So is there any other way to access individual elements, or is there a way like if you have 10 elements, you can access, but within 10 for 10 elements also you need to write 10 statements, right, to access. Yeah, Hugh, thank you. Yeah, so 10 statements to access individual elements of an array with size 10. You need to write 10 statements, right? But is there a way? Yes, of course. So we have seen what are for loops, right? We can we can use one particular variable. This is an initialization. This is a test condition. This is your incremental, right? So how do you increment this counter? Okay. So using that, you can access with one statement. How do you access this one? So for it starts with 0. It has to start with 0 because the index always starts with 0, right? So okay. So let me stop scribbling here. Okay. So this is the counter. Okay. And this has to start with 0 because index starts with 0. Okay. And it has to be less than 9. Why it has to be less than 9? If you want to store 10 elements, the last index will obviously be 9, right? Because it starts with 0. So 0 through 9. So it cannot be 10. So in our previous slide, we saw n is equal to 10. So which we specified as the size of the array when we were declaring int I, okay, I array. Okay. So what we have to do? We have to do less than 0. Okay, less than 0 and I plus plus. I plus plus is nothing but your unary operator. So whenever you do I, right, I plus plus, it is nothing but this expression. I is equal to I plus 1. I plus plus means you are incrementing the variable by 1. We will see when we discuss about operators. Okay, so about this unary operators. Unary operators, it is operating only on one particular operand. Okay, we are specifying only one operand. Usually plus, right, x and y will be there, 2 operands, right? So here we have only one operand. That's why these are called as unary operators. Okay, so I plus plus is nothing but your I is equal to I plus 1 expression. Okay, it increments the variable by 1 on each iteration. On each iteration, it increments the variable by 1. Okay, so what happens? I start with 0. You know how to access an array element, right? So I start with 0. So 0th element is accessed. So then I increment it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. 9th element is accessed. When the value of I becomes 10, it comes out of this particular loop. Okay. Hope you all understood this. So let me demonstrate this with in Eclipse. Okay. So hope all of you can see this. So let me create a simple class. Okay, I'm considering only single dimensional array. Okay, so let us discuss whatever we have whatever the questions are there. Okay, is equal to new int of, so let us say int n is equal to 10. Okay, I will put this 10. Okay, this is one declaration. Okay, another one is int j is equal to new float of n. Okay, so what is happening here? You are seeing change type of j to float. So what it is saying? Change type of j to float, because we are trying to allocate. This is an interesting thing, right? We are trying to allocate memory for float. Okay, we are trying to allocate memory for float, not to an int. That is why it is saying change the type of j. It is not saying change the data type of this particular side. Okay, after new whatever the data type that is specified, this will allocate the data type of or the number of bytes needed based on the data type that we specify here. Okay, so this has to be that one. The data type of the variable should be like that. Okay, say for example I have integer I, okay, integer int array. Okay, so now I will put 0 1. So what will happen? What is happening here? Something happened. So that allocation itself crashed. Okay, thank God it did not crash my Eclipse. So type mismatch cannot convert from double to int. Okay, cannot convert from double to int. So what we can do? Can we do this way? This is also not possible. Type mismatch cannot convert int to int array. Why it is saying int to int array? So what it is saying, cannot convert int to int array. Okay, I'll just type whatever is there. Can anyone tell me what does that mean? It is saying it is still an error, right? So it is saying cannot convert int to an int array. So what is the problem here? Can anyone tell? Can anyone see and tell me what is the problem here? I is an array. Yeah, correct. You are correct. So I is an array. Okay. So I is an array. That is why we cannot allocate one value to the entire array. Okay. We have to specify an index. Where do you want to store? Okay. Now it will be fine. So what about this one? Again, it will say type mismatch. Cannot convert from double to int. So we have to do typecasting. Okay. Then it will be fine. Okay. These are the questions, right, which you all were asking. Okay. Then how to access the individual elements? I'm expecting one more question. Okay. I'm expecting one more question. Let's see whether anyone asks that question. Anyone asks that question? Where is the chat window? Okay. So this is good. Right here also. Good. Okay. So initialize with an index. I is a entire array. Ron is telling I is entire array. So to my question. So I'm expecting one more question from all of you or from any one of you. Let's see whether anyone asks that question. Okay. Okay. So I have assigned the values here, right? I have assigned the values. Only one value I have assigned is. Okay. Here I have assigned only one value. So let me change it to pen and I will write here. Okay. So I have assigned value to 9 here. So what are the values of other elements from I0 to I of 8? What are the values? Wonderful. Habib is telling it is 0. And Pawan is asking a very good question. So what would be the value of 10? Okay, Pawan is asking very good question. Hari Krishna is also telling other values will be 0. Okay, let us try to print that. Let us see what happens. What is the result? 0. Okay. So who told? Hari. Yeah, Hari. I will unmute you. Tell me what is the reason it becomes 0.
Actually, it stores the. Hello?
Yeah, it stores 0. Yeah.
It stores the
Yeah,
0. It's like a, for arrays, is default value, I think. I heard
okay.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
The default value for the, I mean, if you don't give any value, it stores the 0 value as a default.
Okay. Yeah. So that is what the by default the value for integers is 0. 0 will be allocated. For other this thing 0 dot 0. Okay, like that only. Okay. So what you told is correct, Hari. Okay. And what was the other question? So Pawan was asking what will happen if we try to access the 10th element. Not 10th, 11th element, because 10 is an index of 11th element. So what we told, like whenever we assign the this thing, the okay, the what happens? We have, let us take 5 elements. Okay, the 10 element will be too much. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 element. Okay, I of 5 elements. Okay. So what I told, this 5 4 bytes, right? 4, 4, 4, and 4. 4 into 5. How many bytes? 20 bytes, right? So all these things. Say for example, it is address is 100 for this. Okay, this will be 120 or 119. Okay, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till 19. 119. Sorry. Okay, 119. The address. Just I'm randomly taking the address. Okay, that too in decimal, not in hex or in binary. Okay, 119. Okay, so all these array locations or bytes will be allocated one after the other. So that is why I mentioned 100 to 119 address. Okay, that is what is I've been telling. It is contiguous. It is contiguous. All the memory locations are contiguous. You can't say like I have 2 bytes allocated here, 2 bytes allocated here, 2 bytes allocated, 1 byte allocated here. For example, it is 100. This is 201. Okay, this is 200, 201, and this is 300. It's not like that. It is like if it starts with 100, for example, it will end with 119, contiguous. Okay, it is one after the other. So it is allocated in one block. As a block, it is allocated based on the size we specify. Okay, so when I try to access the 11th element or the 6th element here, we don't have any. This is one block, right? We don't know where is the 6th element. It can be here 120. Okay, it can be 120. This is just an address. I'm just for reference I'm taking. Okay, it can be here. It can be 200. It can be 300. Whatever it is. But we have index only from 0 to 4. 5th index can be anything. Okay, 5th index can be anything. But Java does a clever thing. What it does, the moment you try to access the element or the moment you try to access the element which is out of the range, right? Which is out of the range. Give me a second. Java does something called as intelligent work. Okay, so I of 10. Okay, let us try to run this. Okay, it clearly says index is out of bounds. The index is 10. Okay, Index is 10. That is your 11th element. Index is 10 means 0. You have to start with 0. The 11th element. Array index out of bounds exception. It throws an exception and it clearly says we are going out of the range or number of elements of your declared array. Okay, it also clearly says what is the line number. So these are all your exceptions. Okay, so what each and every line means, okay, what each and every line means, we will understand when we discuss about exceptions in our future class. Okay, so one more last thing that I wanted to discuss here is accessing elements using an array or using a loop. Okay, int x is equal to 0, x is x less than n, x plus plus. Okay, so what we can do, let me type this. Excuse me. Okay, so what I will do, print I of I sorry, okay, x of I. Is it correct? Sorry, I of x. Okay, so let us see the result. So you understood, right? So I have used a counter. It should be less than n, and we are in each loop we are incrementing it by the counter by 1. Okay. Unresolved compilation problem. Where was the problem? This is the problem. What is the compilation problem? Public. Okay. That's oh. You can clearly see, right? All other values are initialized to 0. That is for your primitive data types. Okay. And the 9th element we have assigned 100, and it clearly shows that one. Okay, so this is the value of 9th element, that is last element, 10th element. This is the index. Okay, and this is the value of first element that is stored. So 0, 0th element, first element, or first element, second, third, till 10th element. Okay, this within the brackets, whatever we see, square brackets, those are all indexes. Okay, so any other questions you have? Do you have any other questions? Yeah, we saw that array index out of bounds exception, right? And Hugh is telling 10th and 11th element. For 10th and 11th element, what is this question? So you'll get array out of bounds error. Yeah, correct. So whatever you told, looks like all of you know Java. That's what I get the feel. Okay, yeah, that is what. Can we write like? Yeah, one more question. Abid is asking. Can we write like this public static void print yes? Okay, method. He wants to declare a method. Hope I have mentioned the syntax for defining a method. Okay, we'll do a deep dive when we discuss about methods. Okay, so what he is asking is public static. What is this question? Abid is asking like this. Can we write? Yeah, that is what I have done, right? Print. This is a convenience method for me. See here. Public static void print. this is a convenience method. I wrote it for my convenience or my to help me typing system.out.println every time. Okay, system.out.println every time. I wrote it one, whatever the string I pass here, that I am passing in this particular method, println method. Okay, that is what does that do? It simply prints whatever we want it to print. That's it. Okay, that is a convenience method for me. I always write like this so that I need not have to write system.out.println every time. Just type print, or you can give any other thing, whichever is easier for you. So mention this any other thing, whatever is needed. Okay, I can write Abid. Okay, I can write. Okay, here I can write. Oh, sorry. This we cannot change. Yeah, here I can write. Can execute it. Okay, it will give the same thing. Whatever you want to write, you can write it. That's not an issue. Okay. Ali is asking, can an array hold user-defined classes? Of course. So whatever we have, for example, so here we have this one, right? String is also a class. Okay, string is also a class that is built-in Java class. Okay, while building, somebody would have written class for the string also. It is like similar to like whatever we have written myArrays, right? Similar to that one, somebody would have written code for string. So since it is built-in Java class, we say it is built-in Java class. If you want to, you can't write another class with same name which is there in Java's this one. Okay, each and individual this one. So since you are using here, right, this is also a class. Okay, say for example, you want to create an array of myArrays. MyArrays defines what is that? It defines a user-defined data type. Whenever I have told many times, right? So whenever you create a class, you are creating a data type, which is called user-defined data type. Okay. So do you want to create? Can we call it as method calling, right? What is that, Abid? Method calling. What is that method calling? Okay, I did not get your question. So let me finish this, whatever I am typing. So Ali, I am responding to Ali's question. So what I am telling? So what is his question? Can we define an array of user-defined data type? So of course, say whatever the data type, whether it is user-defined data type, built-in data type, primitive data type, whatever it is, we can create an array of any data type. That is why we specifically, we did not specify any particular data type. Okay. MyArrays. Okay. So I will specify like this. Is equal to new MyArrays. Is it possible now? Is it showing any error, Ali? It is not showing any error, right? Okay, let us do one interesting thing. MyArrays of 0 dot print. Yes. Okay. Okay, let us see what happens. Okay. It prints. What am I doing? What am I doing? We will discuss all these things. All these are very, very interesting topics. We will discuss all these things, all the points, whatever we are discussing, right? We will discuss all those things, and I'll explain everything, each and everything which is needed. Okay. So just think about all these things. Okay, whatever we discussed today, right? Think about all these things and try to practice more. Okay, these are just in classes, right? We will just tell you some basic stuff. And whatever the doubts you have, you can always ask. Okay, whatever the doubts you have, you can always ask. Give me a second. So you can always ask. apart from that, whatever you learn in class, right, try to implement each and everything. Whatever you learn, right, try to implement, try to explore more and more. That is when you get lot of doubts. That is when you your whatever the knowledge you acquired in your class session, right, that gets cemented in your mind, and you will get lot of doubts when you try to do more and more, right. That is how you become very familiar with programming language by writing. Okay, by writing. So I used to I'll tell you one example. I don't know whether you have time. So I started with Fortran. Okay, Fortran. I don't know whether how many of you know. So Fortran was okay language for me. Okay, but when I started learning C, that is when I really enjoyed the learning programming. Okay, so people still say pointers are difficult to learn in C and C++, but that was very easy for me to handle pointers, right? Any concept in pointer I was able to catch up very quickly. So whatever the things that you see in Java, they are all written using C and C++ only. So in turn, they are all written using your pointers, all those things. Now I forgot most of the things. So how I got those knack of understanding all those things, I used to write a lot of code with C++ while I was learning C. Okay, so that is why I always encourage you to explore more and more. That is when you get lot of doubts. That is when all your doubts get cleared, and you have to ask lot of questions. So when you start learning, when you start exploring, right, you get lot of doubts, lot of questions will come, and then you start answering those questions. If you don't get answers, you can always ask us. Okay, we'll try to answer your question. So with that, let us wind up this session. So if you have any questions, please let me know. We'll try to answer. Otherwise, we'll meet tomorrow. Okay. Yes, no question? Yeah, thanks, Ali. Yeah. Okay, what about method calling? Abid is asking method calling. I did not get your question, Abid. We'll discuss about this tomorrow. Please remind me about this, your question, okay? Okay, then. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great evening and enjoy your evening. Bye. Take care.